Okay, so follow up to yesterday's PBR with Nate. By the way, off work after freezing to death again today, digging in the dirt, doing stuff like that. I do not recommend this after 40 years of age. Anyway, so cheers to you, all of you who've done the same thing and probably worked harder than I have. This PBR's for you. Okay, so as I stated before, follow up to yesterday. I said something like 100,000 people in Virginia. Turns out it was 22,000, somewhere around in there. Also found out today, it was like below 30 degrees up there. It was like 20-something degrees up there. I don't know about you, but I'm getting paid to get out in the cold, and I still don't want to be there. But them folks was up there, and they got out and did it. Like I said yesterday, I hadn't heard. So anyway, yesterday what I put out had at that point had been rumor and anecdotal or anything else. But as it stands now, there were no arrests. Nobody got violent. Nobody got shot. Considering the amount of weaponry that was on the streets, oh my goodness! I saw some of the video and photographic evidence from that protest. There was some serious weaponry up there. There was a dude from New York walking around with a .50 caliber sniper rifle. Hilarious. I mean, unless you're gonna drive around with a tank, I think that was the biggest statement that you could have made. He walked around that place full combat gear with a .50 caliber sniper rifle. That was awesome. And didn't shoot anybody. Nobody got shot. So, and no arrests, no violence. Some interesting takeaways from the stories I've read today online and from, like I say, from the video and photographic stuff that I saw. Number one, it was put out by a major news network that this was a white supremacist rally. Turns out it was not. You just offended like a lot of black people and Hispanic people and Asian people with that. It was put out that way. I mean, literally, it went out. I don't know. I think it was NBC, maybe NBC, MSN. Somebody put it out that way. Anyway, it went out on Twitter that way. Any of you folks who have Twitter, you can find it easily. I don't. Just can't deal with it. Nonetheless, there were a lot of people there. There was white folks, there was black folks, there was Asian folks, there was Hispanic folks, there was women, there were people from the LGBTQ community. It was a very, as far as I could see, and like I say, I got to work for a living, so I can't just spend all this time cycling through the news and YouTube videos and this, that, and other. I mean, I have to be very selective about what I look at and when I look at it because I got to work. But from what I could see, it was very diverse. It was an extremely diverse crowd. Very diverse. So I don't know where they get it's a white supremacist rally or anything else such as that. Nobody tried to storm the gates of the compound of the Virginia State Capitol that they had. They surrounded it with a fence. You can't have weapons. Nobody walked in there with a weapon. The people who were inside did not have weapons. The people outside did. So everybody just got along, and it was an extreme. It was like the embodiment of a peaceful protest. And on top of that, this is something I did see. They cleaned up after themselves. I mean, come on. If you look at the Occupy protests and the protests out there for the pipeline and things like that, there's trash everywhere. There's this, that, and another, and there's blah, blah, blah. These folks policed their trash, picked it up, threw it away like it was supposed to be done, and that was it. I mean, so, okay, this was played up like the Joker movie. I don't know how many of you out there have seen the Joker. I have. Fantastic movie, by the way. Nonetheless, it was played up like the Joker movie. This thing is going to cause violence. It's going to cause massive violence. There's going to be, madness in the streets. I mean, if you go back to what was in Ghostbusters, I can paraphrase, cats and dogs living together. I don't know. That's what it was supposed to be like. Governor Northam actually put blackface Governor Northam put out a state of emergency and was threatening to call up the National Guard and put a fence around the Capitol building. Thinking that just sure that this was going to explode, that all these right-wing extremists, oh my God, right-wing extremists who love their God, guns, and religion, and blah, 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 and all these rednecks was going to come out and start shooting up the place. We're not going to have a repeat of Charlottesville. Well, if you didn't want to have a repeat of Charlottesville, you should have banned cars, because that's what happened in Charlottesville. So, not ban guns, ban cars. So anyway, seriously, this was so overblown in the media. Like it was even Fox bit into this crap. And I'm not the biggest fan of Fox. Like I said yesterday, I watch them because they got some good-looking women on there in the morning, and my wife knows that. It's just, I don't know. It's just so super hyped up, and I think that's what people want. I think that's what these people wanted. That's what they wanted, was to see this go off like that. But guess what? It didn't. It didn't. Didn't want guns at the Capitol. The other day, sometime last week or a week before, the governor of the state of Texas awarded the highest honor you can have to that fella that killed that guy in the church in Texas, in Fort Worth, or outside of Fort Worth. He awarded him this high honor. And if you look at the pictures, I'm not saying this is exactly right. I'm not saying this was right or whatever. But if you look at some of the pictures from that, when the guy is leaning over to, accept the medal from the governor because the governor's in a wheelchair, the guy's wearing a suit. When he's leaning over, if you look on his right hip, it looks like that there is you can see kind of a bulge of a weapon. Now, I'm not saying that's the truth, but those of us who know weapons and pistols and things like that, and even people who know clothing falls a certain way when you bend over. It looks like there's a pistol there under his suit, and he's accepting an award from the governor. It looks like he's got a pistol on his hip. But I digress. That's anecdotal. Don't quote me on that. Anything else? And like I say, I'm not saying that's true or not. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. And then this Governor Northam, blackface, fourth trimester abortion governor, says, we got to ban all guns. Man, Richmond, Virginia was the safest place on earth yesterday. If anybody would have tried to pop off something yesterday, it would have been dealt with quick, fast, and in a hurry. But again, what strikes me is this, is that they all talk about right-wing nut bajobs and white supremacists and things such as that. That is not the case. There was a very diverse cross-section of America represented there yesterday. And it was not just Virginians. It was people from all over the country, because they recognize what is happening. That it is an attack on basic God-given or natural law, whatever you want to call it, rights that we have enjoyed here in the United States of America for 240 plus years. And it's not just that they were attacking the Second Amendment. It's not just that. It was people standing up saying, we will not take this tyranny from the government. They were actually standing up for the motto of Virginia, Sic Semper Tyrannis. We will not take this tyranny from the government, whether it be the Second Amendment, whether it be the First, whether it be the Fourth, Fifth, Sixth, Seventh, Eighth, Ninth, Tenth, any of them. We're not going to take this. We are going to stand up for the rights that are guaranteed to us by our Constitution. And it's not that the government can take those rights away. It's that the government is there to protect those rights, and that we as citizens are there to ensure the government protects those rights. So it's not just about guns. It's about the First Amendment. It's about the Second Amendment. It's about the Fourth. It's about illegal search and seizure. It's about the Fifth Amendment. You know, it's about all of those things. That's what that was about yesterday. It was a middle finger in the face of tyranny. And, you know, you can potentially put it on par with the Boston Tea Party. I mean, you know who was threatened with violence? The ones who were threatened with violence were the protesters. The government actually threatened violence and incarceration and confiscation of weapons and everything else to those protesters. Said, if you come in here and start, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. You can't do this and you can't do that. So they were actually threatened with violence and with possible incarceration and anything else. The same way that the founders and the framers decided when they dumped that tea into Boston Harbor, you know, they knew that their lives and their livelihood was on the line. 20 to 22 to 24, I don't know. Anywhere from 20 to 30,000 people just basically dumped tea in the harbor in Virginia. So, and now here's the interesting thing. They say Virginia has a majority. They control all three branches of government in Virginia. They have 1 vote in the Senate, 5 votes in the House, or whatever they call it, the equivalent in Virginia, because Virginia is not a state, it's a commonwealth. And they have the governor. They have extremely slim majorities. And a lot of that is due to Northern Virginia, which is basically trying to become like Maryland and D.C. There again, heavily populated area by people who are not actual Virginians. Mostly D.C. bureaucrats that live there because they've got a quick commute and they can have a nice house. But the rest of the state, anyway, like I'm saying, it amazes me that everybody, you went to CNN, MSNBC, Fox, all of those news outlets, the government in Virginia, everybody just wanted, they were just begging and salivating for something to pop off with all these redneck right-wing nut jobs. Guess what? Did not happen. Didn't happen. And they said it was all a bunch of white folks. Oh my God. Look at the pictures. Look at the video. I dare you. Go out there and look. So, I'm not saying any kind of vindication or anything like that. There's no telling what's going to happen in Virginia with those laws. They're probably going to push them through anyway. They're going to shove them down folks' throats. And people are going to be subjected to tyranny in a state that has a motto that basically says, down with tyrants. They're going to push that through. Because, they're just going to follow along with that. They want the power. They want that power. They're craving that power. And, go ahead. A guy in blackface that talks about, when the mother has the child, we'll keep the child comfortable until the family decides what to do with it. Seriously? You wore blackface standing next to a KKK person, or you were the KKK person and one of your friends was in blackface. You're the person that wants to take the guns, and you obviously are craving power. I don't know, there's something else I heard through the grapevine. I read something, a news report, and I can't remember where it was now, and other people can research it, is that they're looking to extend the governors, because the governor has term limits. I think they're looking to extend that somewhere. I don't know. I can't quote, chapter and verse on that, but I read something somewhere, I think, that said that. So it's a power grab. It's a huge, huge, massive power grab. Anytime the government says, let me take care of it, let us do something, and let us take this on ourselves, and let us take care of you this way, you need to be wary. You need to be extremely wary and understand that is not for your benefit. It is for their benefit and their benefit alone. As I said yesterday, when Ronald Reagan says, what's the last thing you want to hear? Hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. It's the truth. Because that's all these people know. It's the bacon wrapped shrimp club. It's, it's the, I can get $1,000 haircut, for free, and I can go get massages in the Senate massage room and blah, 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 blah. I can do all these things. This is not liberty, folks. None of this is liberty. I wear this hat not because of Donald Trump. It's not because of him. Now, he's the one that coined the phrase. And I agree with the phrase. That's why I wear this hat. No, when I bought this hat, no money went to the Donald J. Trump campaign. I went to a local place here in Cartersville, and I, looked at them and said, I want that hat, and I want this on that hat. This did not come from the Trump campaign. But I wear this hat because I believe we are at a time now. We always said, oh, this is the most important election. This is the most important election. This is the most important election. Blah, 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 blah. Been saying it for 240 something years. I believe this is an important election. 2020. Now, is it going to prove out to be the most important election of our time? I don't know. I don't know how long we've got on this earth. As long as God says so, that's how long we've got on this earth. I know that we've had very important elections in the past, and that have directed this country to the way it should go. And I believe this one coming up is a very important one. I'm not going to say that this is make or break for the United States, and I'm not going to say that. What I am saying is this, is that I believe this, not make America white again, like some people think this is. No, it says make America and Americans, no matter what race, creed, color, or anything else that you are. Didn't Dr. King say it best? That his children would be judged based on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. That all men are created equal. All Americans. Those that are citizens, that are true citizens of this country. This great American experiment that is still going. Because we're fairly young. There was empires before us that lasted thousands of years and blah, 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 and this, that, and another. I believe in this experiment. And I believe in the framers that designed it and brought it out. And I believe that the spirit of those founders, the spirit of those framers, who we call the fathers of our country, was embodied yesterday in the melting pot of America, because it was a melting pot there. It wasn't black, white, Asian, this, that, and other. It was Americans standing up for liberty. Not so they could carry a gun or whatever else. They were standing up for liberty and not allowing a tyrant to take their liberty away. That is the fundamentals of what happened yesterday, and that is the fundamentals of this country, and that's the fundamentals of what I'm saying to you. I don't care who you are, who you love, who you have sex with. I don't care what your color is. I don't care what your creed is. I don't care if you've got an arm growing out of your forehead. I don't care who you are, what you are, or anything else. I do not care. That does not enter into my mind. What enters into my mind is that you deserve liberty. You're an American. You deserve liberty. You deserve to have someone stand beside you and say, I will defend you. And you deserve to enjoy the individual rights, because bottom line is, gun rights are women's rights. Gun rights are gay rights. Gun rights are trans rights. Gun rights are black rights. Gun rights are Asian rights. Because guess what? The gun is the great equalizer. And the gun guarantees your freedom of speech. The gun guarantees your freedom to move about this great land. It guarantees your freedom because it's the equalizer. And if you don't have that, every other right you have can be taken away easily. It's been proven throughout history. Look at the USSR, look at Nazi Germany, and oh, that's what all these, these leftists or whatever else is going to say. Well, that's what you always say, blah, blah, blah. Currently, look at China. Look at Venezuela. Look at all those places that have had their, right to bear arms taken away. What's happened? They've been ran over by a tyrannical government. So, your gun rights, the right to keep and bear arms, is a great equalizer in this society. And it guarantees you keep the rest of them. So I'm so proud of America yesterday. I'm so very proud of America yesterday because they stood up and showed exactly what America is all about. And, hopefully something good comes out of it. Hopefully the state of Virginia realizes that by extremely slim margins in the Senate and the House, well, I don't know what they call their House over there. I don't know what they call the Senate. In their Congress, extremely slim margins. And that governor realizes that, you know what? We might be screwing up. And if we don't change what we're doing, this thing's going to flip next election. I also told you about the transportation taxes and this, that, and another. I got to watch out up there. It's not just guns. It's taxation is theft. Seriously. They're trying to take stuff from you. And if you go and say, hey, I'm going to buy a Tesla and I'm going to be environmentally friendly, guess what? They are going to tax the crap out of you. Whether it be, through a highway tax or, whatever else. They are going to hit you hard because you have to pay the equivalent of whatever else is. And everybody else is paying a gas tax that's tied to inflation. So guess what? The dollar gets weaker, the more taxes you pay. Yay, that's awesome. That's great. And you know what? Then people are going to be dropping out of Virginia like flies. Just like they're doing in New York and California. They're leaving those places in droves. Then again, they're not learning their lesson. They're going to Texas and they're going to North Carolina and they're going to these other places. And then they're voting exactly what got them into that mess in the first place. So, I don't know. Bottom line is liberty is precious. And it only lasts as long as people want it. I want it. I want liberty. I want to be able to raise my family and raise my children in a society where there is liberty. I want my daughters to know what liberty is. I try to raise them that way. I hope it works out. So we're only a generation shy of losing it all. Anyway, as I said, America made me proud yesterday. It was fantastic. That's what I saw when I joined the Army and swore to uphold and defend the Constitution. That's what I was talking about. It's that kind of thing. All right, so that's my follow-up to yesterday's PBR with Nate. I hope everybody so far has had a good week. It's only Tuesday. I hope you've enjoyed your week thus far, and I hope you enjoy the rest of it. May the Lord bless you and keep you and make his face shine upon you. And, keep liberty in mind. Here's to you.